Hey guys, that MUT Gamer back here for another video. Today we're going to talk about how investments will work in MUT 22. If you guys have never invested any card in MUT, pretty much it is a basic principle. I kind of like to use Cam Robinson as an example because this is how I made like 3 or 4 million coins in the past. I made 7 million one time using elite badges, but I know every time I say elite badges, people go, what are elite badges? Okay, so Cam Robinson is actually a card, so this is a better example. Pretty much, I bought 100 Cam Robinsons for around 1,000 coins a piece. He went up to 10,000 coins a piece. You got to think in mind, every single Cam Robinson I sell, after tax, I'm making 9 times my money back. So if you spend 100,000 coins, you bought 100 Cam Robinsons, obviously for 1,000 coins a piece. Now you have 100, then they went up to 10,000 coins. You 10 times that, obviously is a million, minus 100,000 for tax, and I just made myself back 800k, right? So it's a pretty simple, flipperoni. I always like to say, whenever you are doing investments, there's different type of investments. There are quick investments are snipes, are what we call flipping a card. You buy a card right away to sell it back, and we will be talking about it in a second because sniping is going to be changed this year. And then there's mid-term investments, like mid-range investments. Now these investments that I like to look at is when you go ahead and, let's say for a set, let's say team of the week, right? During the weekend, team of the week sets are always very easy to do because a lot of people open up packs, a lot of people pull these team of the week players, and they just flood the auction house for these players. Well, during the weekend, that's the case. During the week, when less people are playing, these cards actually go up in value. We see this every single year. There's different sets that this works with, but team of the week, in my opinion, is one of the best because it's always consistent. And usually it's always like the worst card in the team of the week set because that card obviously is a card everyone pulls. So it just simply, during the weekend might be like 800 coins. During the week, it might be 1,700, 2,000 coins. Which once you go ahead and buy a lot of them and sell a lot of them, it does go ahead and bear the price of, you're flipping coins, you're making coins, but it might take you a couple of days to make those coins. Those are mid-range investments. Now, long-term investments are the really risky ones. And like I said before, you can make a crap ton of coins, 6, 7, 8 million. You could lose coins too. It's a really big up in the air type investment. I know a lot of people were investing in the power-ups last year, and a lot of people lost a lot of coins investing in the power-ups. What we saw last year was EA made a lot of power-ups almost impossible not to get in a way. Now, some of the power-ups from like actual power-up sets, getting from sets, those power-ups actually were expensive. But again, like I said before, those were type of things where, yes, they got really expensive, but then once they put them in the packs, they completely plummeted in value. So if you had those, you lost a lot of coins doing that. So it's a really kind of, I say, up in the air type of game when you're making long-term investments. I try my best every year to at least get 1 or 2 really good long-term investment because again, like I said, it's a really risky thing, and I try to always preface my videos when I do talk about long-term investments in MUT, just, hey, keep in mind there's a chance you could lose coins if you do this investment. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and talk about how they're going to be different this year, because this year is a little bit different than any other year. And yes, it's because of that big bad boy on the screen, and it is a high price cap feature. Actually, do they even have it in this screen? Okay, they don't have this in the screen, but pretty much what this means is that exactly as you would think. You can't put up this card for that much coinage. Now, you might say in your head, well, I don't really care about that, because at the end of the day, all I care about is buying a card for said price, waiting, selling it for said price. And the reason why it's going to be different is because these cards cannot skyrocket up in value like they could in the past. In the past, how these cards work is like, for example, let's say there was a power-up, right? And there's 100 of this one power-up going for 1,000 coins. Well, if that, for example, that guy got a new card, well, bam, that power-up's going to skyrocket within seconds. All 100 of those power-ups bought in a second, and then they're going to be resold on the market within seconds for probably 60, 70, 80,000 coins. Well, that's not the case anymore, and that's where the issue kind of lies. So now there is a high price cap for each card. So for example, if that power up is selling for 1,000 coins each, right? In order for it to go, that means the high price cap is probably 1,500 coins, maybe 2,000 coins. So the first person to list that card up after all 100 are sold, because you got to keep in mind now, this is based on the last 100 transactions. So if 100 of this card is sold for 1,000 coins, there has to be 100 more sold for 1,500 or whatever this high price cap is, 2,000, let's say. And after 2,000 are sold at 100, at 100 is sold for 2,000, then it might be 4,000. 100 gets sold for 4,000. You guys understand my drift, right? So it's no longer that prices in cards can just skyrocket within seconds, because its high price cap keeps cards in check. It keeps cards at bay. The reason why they did this, obviously, was because of coin sellers. They don't want you to sell the Aaron Rodgers card for 6 million coins. They don't want you to do that. So how do you do it? You can't. If you wanted to sell this card for 6 million coins, there would have to be 1,000 transactions at a price tag of slowly increase at its max capacity over and over again for it to get up to a price tag of 1 million coins. And it would take a long time to do. And that's why investments are going to be a little bit different this year, because no longer is it the same concept of you can just buy 100 of a card and resell it for whatever price you want and just flood the market and, you know, really just in all reality, you know, just take control of the market and make a lot of coins. That's one thing that has changed this year when it comes to long-term investments. Now, let's talk about short-term and mid-term investments. Sniping is a good example of short-term investments. How are sniping infected or changed in Madden 22? Well, theoretically speaking, at the moment, it's not. And what I mean by that is that at the moment, there is only a high price cap feature and there isn't a low cap feature. And that's really important. But EA said in their vlog, actually in the blog right here, price ranges will be on all auction items in Madden 22, right? Price range will be set based on the median price of each item per platform, okay? While the median price are platform, the distance of the upper and lower range, that median price will be universal across platforms. The median price will dynamically raise and lower based on the current market trends. Keep that in mind. So what this means is, obviously, if people keep selling that card, it's going to keep going up, right? It's going to go skyrocket up, right? I don't know why I had to make that noise when I did that, but it's going to skyrocket up, right? But here's the big thing, right? Where they put it? They say right here, sniping players in the auction house. Yes, players will be able to snipe cards in the auction house. There will be need to set amount of sales before the price range is in place. What they're saying is that sniping won't be affected because just snipe the card before 100 transaction goes through and you're fine. That's bullcrap. But anyway, though, I don't see where they have it. Let me type in low right there. By default, let me read this to you guys. By default, there's no lower ranges, but as we gather more information, more data, lower ranges could be introduced. That is where sniping would be affected if there's a lower range for these cards. So at the upper range, nothing really changes with sniping, right? If a card's going for 10,000 coins and you buy it for 6,000 coins, you can resell it and make some coins. But if a lower range is implemented, that's where things change. So for example, if you have a card that's 10,000 coins and the lower range says, well, you have to sell it for at least 7k, you gotta sell from 7 to 12k, and the card goes to 10,000 coins, okay, you might be like, okay, well, 7k, I got that right there, right? You gotta keep in mind, and there's gonna be so many people posting that card for that price range, for that gap, because you can't post it crazy. You gotta post it in that price gap, right? That's destroys sniping. That absolutely abysmal idea destroys sniping. And the reason why they say in the little frequent asking questions right here, the reason why they say on there, they don't say that, you know, they'll go, oh, don't worry, sniping's the same because high price cap doesn't affect sniping. They say to snipe before 100 transaction goes through, because they know if they add the low range feature, it destroys all sniping, period. All right, so let's talk about the mid-range. The mid-range investments are not affected at all in any way. Even if a low cap feature actually does get implemented, it doesn't really affect anything. Most of these mid-range adjustments or things we're looking at are probably going to go ahead and be, like I said, team of the week sets, different legend sets. Could be power-up cards, if you know those are cards going to be coming out soon. Like I said, with mid-range investments, you're not going all in. You might be going kind of more, I say it like this, you're going more about the supply of an item and just kind of making a quick buck, where it's not a quick flip of quick turnaround, but at the same time though, you're not going long term and heavy into an item, if that makes sense. So for example, you might buy 30 of a card that goes for 1,000 coins, and you might be hoping to get back 100k. So, and at the end of the day, you know, you're not looking for a card to go up in a mid-range investment like 17 times. You're looking at it to go up like maybe 4 times at most. So that kind of won't be affected in any way. So the only thing we're really going to see affected in any way possible is a short-term investment and a long-term investment, and sniping is that short-term that could be affected greatly. Guys, tell me down below your thoughts and opinions, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.